Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. I'm a first-time mom and I have a 3-month-old little boy named Peter, and I'm super grateful that I'm actually able to be a stay-at-home mom and spend all my time with him. So today I wanted to sit down and share with you how we were able to afford for me to be a stay-at-home mom. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. I also want to let you know if you are expecting to have a baby, I actually have a course called Budgeting for Baby, and it walks you through everything that you'll need to know for planning your finances for this really exciting but also can be overwhelming time of having a baby, covering everything from maternity leave, becoming a stay-at-home mom, budgeting for medical, baby supplies you'll need, and just everything that you need to know when it comes to finances and having a baby, because I know it can feel really overwhelming. So I will have a link to my course in the description box down below so you can check it out. It also includes a really pretty workbook that I've had professionally designed that will help you be able to keep track of all of your budgeting as you are preparing for this season. And it also gives you access to a private Facebook group, which is really fun. I've been chatting with a bunch of expecting moms who are trying to navigate budgeting and also planning for having a baby. And in the course, I share my experience of being pregnant and budgeting for having a baby. I'm a huge fan of budgeting, so I tracked every single thing that I spent money on. So I'm going to share with you how much money it costs to actually have a baby and the things you'll need and just everything that I learned from budgeting during my time being pregnant as we were preparing to have a baby. So if you are expecting and you'd be interested in that, definitely check it out with the link in the description box down below. So while I am a new mom, because my son is only 3 months old, we really were preparing our finances for me to be able to be a stay-at-home mom years ago. So my husband and I have been married for 5 years, and as soon as we got married, we had over $80,000 of student loan debt, and we also had just graduated college, so we were starting with entry-level jobs and had all of this debt. But at that time, we knew that it was our desire to have a house one day and also have a family, and really that was our motivation for being able to pay off debt. And my long-term goal was to be able to be a stay-at-home mom, but I knew that in today's times, it's not as easy as it used to be, I feel like, to be able to support an entire family off of one income. And so I knew that we had to get creative and plan ahead as to how we could actually accomplish this goal. So the first thing that we did to be able to afford for me to stay home was starting a budget. Like I said, when we got married 5 years ago, we worked on paying off our debt and we started budgeting then. Basically, a budget is a plan for your money, and it allows you to be able to tell your money where to go every month. So you start with all of your income and you take your total household income and assign every dollar to either an expense or a savings line item. And that way you're able to track the money that you're actually spending and see how you're doing month over month. Starting budgeting was really eye-opening to see what we were truly spending our money on, and it also really helped us to come up with a plan for our finances. Knowing that our big long-term goal was for me to be able to stay home, we started working that into our budget a while ago. And not to say that if you're pregnant now that you can't become a stay-at-home mom because you only have like 6 months to go or something like that. You can still make it happen. You just have to start budgeting now. You need to be able to understand what you're doing with your money, understanding the income that you're bringing in and where you are spending every dollar. So the first thing that we did was get on a budget. And we budgeted then and we budget now. Budgeting can take some time to get in the habit of, and I will say the first few months that we created a budget, it did not go very well. But as time went on, it gets easier and easier. And right now it takes me like 5 minutes to create our monthly budget, and I am such a huge budget nerd. I love creating a budget. I have a ton of videos on budgeting here on my channel because I am so passionate about it. So I will leave a playlist to budgeting right here so you can check out more budgeting videos if you're interested. The next thing that we did was pay off all of our debt. When we were first married with over $80,000 of student loans, our minimum loan payments was really big. In fact, I think it was actually more than what our rent was. It was over $1,200, $1,300 in just minimum payments that we owed to our student loan providers. And we knew that this was just taking up such a large chunk of our monthly budget, and we wanted to be able to pay it off as soon as possible so we weren't dealing with those payments in our monthly budget. And also it would save us on interest if we paid it off faster. So we decided to make that our first goal when we got married, was to pay off all of our debt. And that way we wouldn't have to worry about that extra bill. It took us 2.5 years to pay off that $80,000, and it was rough. We made a lot of sacrifices. We lived in small apartments. We even rented a room for my parents for a season, and we basically didn't have much of a life. We were making very little starting out with our careers, and we basically just cut everything out of our budget so that we could put as much as possible to paying off our debt. But now I am so grateful that we are debt-free. We've been debt-free for almost 3 years now, and it feels so good that we haven't had to worry about these student loan debt payments like hanging over our heads. We don't owe anyone anything. We live completely debt-free besides our mortgage. And paying off our debt was a really great step in taking control of our finances and planning for long term so that we wouldn't have this payment while I'd be staying home with my child. The third thing we did was build up our savings. So we decided after we had finished paying off all of our debt, we wanted to increase our emergency fund. Before, while we were paying off debt, we had about $3,000 in an emergency fund, but we wanted to make sure we had a really good buffer of emergency savings, especially as we thought of adding a baby to our household and having an additional family member to support. So we decided to beef up our emergency fund to be about 7 months of expenses. We decided on $25,000, and we finished that goal in March of this year, actually while I was pregnant. We were working on accomplishing that. So it feels really good for me to be able to stay home knowing that we have $25,000 in our emergency fund. If something were to happen to my husband's job or, something else were to come up, we have the money sitting aside in an emergency fund and we could survive for 7 months off of just the reserves that we have sitting there. So that was definitely a sense of security and really helpful in being able to make that decision for me to be able to stay home. The next thing we did was learning to live on less and cutting expenses. So like I said, we started off our marriage with entry-level jobs right out of college, but since then our income has more than doubled, which is really exciting in 5 years. But even though our income has substantially increased, we really haven't increased our lifestyle a whole lot. Now, while we were paying off debt, we lived very minimally. We didn't go out to eat or anything like that or go on vacations. But as time went on and after we did become debt-free and we were making more money, we did increase some of these lifestyle pieces, like we go on vacation once a year. I mean, we haven't in 2020 because who has? And we'd also go out to eat like every other week, which 2020, we haven't done that either right now. But these are things that we have started to add back into our budget. And throughout our debt-free journey, I think we just realized that we don't need a lot of things. And so we just don't. I actually recently just bought myself a few new shirts because I haven't bought myself clothes in over a year because I've been pregnant and then had a baby and I just needed a few things. But we just don't do a whole lot of shopping. We only really buy things that we truly need, and we've learned to just live without a bunch of these fancy sorts of things. Now, I will say that I am really grateful that we do have a budget because I believe that a budget gives you the permission to spend. So there are some things that we have splurged on, but we have it like set aside in our budget and we'll plan for it and know that it's okay to spend money if we have the money set aside. But we really just learned to live on and enjoy our lives with less. And the fifth thing that we've done that has allowed me to be able to afford to be a stay-at-home mom is doing some side hustling and looking for extra ways to make money. So like I said, years ago, it was my desire to be a stay-at-home mom, and I knew that we wouldn't be able to afford to live on just one income. So I was looking for opportunities to be able to make extra money, and I actually started with a blog. In 2017, I bought a domain and hosting for a blog, which I use Bluehost. If you're interested in that, I have a link to them down below. But I decided that I wanted to start a blog and share about our personal finance journey, and I learned that you could actually make money blogging, which I thought was crazy. So I started this online business and started blogging, and I will say it took me a very long time to start earning an actual income. And I remember when I earned my first $20, I was so excited. But as time has gone on, I've actually made more and more money from my blog, from my YouTube channel here. And as I'm making this video today, I'm actually really grateful that my business actually makes more money than what I made from my day job that I quit. But obviously it did take some time. I did start my blog while I was working full-time, and I've been working on YouTube while I've been also working a full-time job. And so it's definitely been something that I've worked on part-time because I've worked on it in the evenings and on the weekends, but it's grown into this thing now that provides some sort of income for my family, which I'm really grateful for. So I would still consider myself to be a stay-at-home mom, even though I am doing a lot of working, but I really try and just do the nap time hustle. As I'm filming this right now, my son Peter is down for a nap. And so I just try to really utilize my time wisely so that I'm able to spend as much time with him as possible, but then take the time that I need to be able to work on my business of some sort. I remember when my husband and I got married, and it was just my goal to be able to stay home, and that was the only thing that I wanted to do. But when I realized that we wouldn't necessarily be able to afford that with just a single income, it really made me start to get creative and thinking of the ways that I really could make this happen. And since I do have my business here and I am working during nap time and so on, I guess I'm not a traditional stay-at-home mom, but I've just had to learn to be creative and find ways that I can cut expenses, make more money, and set ourselves up financially well so that I can spend more time with my son and I can stay home. And I am really grateful and feel like I have found a really good balance in that. Since I had my son in May, we've had all summer long, and I'm so grateful for this lovely weather. And we've been able to go on morning walks in the stroller, just he and I. And every single time we go out, I'm just so grateful, like thinking that I'm out here with my son on a walk during the morning when normally like I would have been at my day job, and here I am like getting to spend time with my son and stay home. And I just feel like it really is the best of both worlds, that I'm able to work and earn income for my family while my son is taking a nap, and I'm able to be with him when he's awake. And I just feel like it's been the best of both worlds, but it has taken a lot of time and energy and hard work to be able to get to this point. And also, I didn't mention, but I did leave my day job. I was working as an accounting manager for a nonprofit, and I'm not doing that job anymore, but I am technically still working for that employer. I work a whole 10 hours a week, very part-time, on my own time, whenever I want. So I wouldn't consider that to be my day job anymore, but it is just an additional another stream of income, and I just do it again when Peter is either down for a nap, or oftentimes at night after he goes to bed. That's also when I take the time to work. But we're definitely just trying to find the balance in it all, but again, super grateful. So that is how we are able to afford for me to be a stay-at-home mom, and I literally feel like I'm living the dream that I wanted 5 years ago when I got married, and I'm so grateful for it and feel like I truly have the best of both worlds. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more budgeting and also baby videos, and check out my budgeting for baby course linked in the description box down below. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye.
Did you ever stop and think